Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome back, everyone. Today we're diving deep, really deep, into the highly anticipated and I guess still pretty mysterious Google Pixel 12 Pro.
Mm,
Our mission, if you will, is to get way beyond those, standard headlines you see flying around. We want to explore the real nitty-gritty details of this upcoming phone.
right.
We've got this pretty comprehensive article here full of its supposed specs, its features, and we're basically here to pull out the most important bits, give you a shortcut, really, to being properly informed about what might just be Google's next really big phone.
Yeah, it's always fascinating, isn't it, getting a peek at this upcoming tech. And I think this deep dive, well, it's probably going to reveal some surprising things as we kind of piece together these specifications.
Yay.
It gives us a really intriguing look into where mobile tech might be heading. And frankly, it makes you think critically about leaks and predictions and how they shape what we expect, you know?
Absolutely. So let's kick things off maybe with the core of any phone these days, the chipset, its brain.
Right, the engine.
The source we have says the Pixel 12 Pro is expected to run on the Google Tensor G4, and it's built on a 3-nanometer process.
3 nanometer.
Now, a 3-nanometer Tensor G4, that sounds incredibly powerful, sure. But for someone just using the phone, what does that actually mean, like tangibly?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Is it just, faster apps opening, or does Google
Yeah.
tend to use that kind of efficiency for
Yeah.
something else?
Well, with Google's chips, yeah, it's often not just about raw speed, like benchmark scores.
Mhm.
That 3 nanometer process, it really signals Google's continued push towards um, on-device intelligence, on-device AI,
Okay.
which means, well, potentially more privacy for your data because more complex stuff can happen right there on the phone.
Ah, right. Not going to the cloud as much.
Exactly. And you get lightning fast processing for things like, say, real-time translation or maybe some complex photo edits that usually need servers. It could fundamentally change how you interact with AI on your phone day to day.
Yeah.
Faster, more personal, less reliant on having a perfect internet connection.
That makes sense. And okay, what really brings that power to life for you, the user? It's got to
Mhm.
be the display, right?
Absolutely.
So let's shed some light on what's rumored for the Pixel 12 Pro's screen. We're apparently talking a pretty massive 6.9-inch AMOLED display. Says a billion colors, super smooth, 120 hertz refresh rate.
Wow, 6.9 inches. That's big.
Yeah. And the resolution is 1264 by 2780 pixels, covers about, 90.9% of the phone's front. Looking at these numbers, I mean, it really seems like Google's pushing for a properly immersive experience here.
Oh, absolutely. A display that size, that quality,
Yeah.
especially with that high refresh rate, that's crucial. Crucial for watching videos, obviously, but also just daily use.
Yeah.
Scrolling through feeds, super fluidly, or playing demanding games without any stutter.
Yeah, that smoothness makes a difference.
And that high screen-to-body ratio you mentioned, that points to a nearly bezel-less design,
Yeah.
which, always feels more premium, more immersive, like you're just holding the screen itself.
Definitely. But, for so many people, the Pixel story, it's always been about the camera.
That can be, yeah.
What's Google cooking up this time? To push mobile photography further, this article, it suggests a 108 megapixel triple main camera setup.
108 megapixels.
And it's packed with features. Dual LED flash, pixel shift, auto HDR, panorama. For video, it looks like 4K at 30 or 60 frames per second. Even 1080p up to 240
Oh,
58.
no. Nice.
Yeah, with gyro ES, OIS, and 10-bit HDR. I mean, 108 megapixel triple camera system plus all those computational features.
Mhm.
That's a serious claim.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it's not just about chasing megapixels, right? That 108 MP sensor, when you combine it with things like pixel shift and that 10-bit HDR for video, it suggests Google's really aiming for, well, computational photography mastery.
Right. Their usual secret sauce.
Exactly. Especially in tricky lighting, like low light and for getting really cinematic video. Pixel shift, for instance, uses these tiny sensor movements to capture way more data and enhances detail, color accuracy, especially in stills. And for video, that combination of gyro IS and OIS, that means incredibly stable footage. Think like smooth, professional-looking handheld shots without the usual shakiness.
Okay, yeah.
Combine that with 10-bit HDR, which gives you a vastly wider range of colors and light. It brings a truly cinematic feel to phone recordings. We're talking professional-grade dynamic range, detail. Potentially blurring the lines between phone footage and, dedicated cameras makes high-quality creation genuinely accessible.
That's pretty exciting. Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Power and durability, how's it looking there? The source lists a 50-50 milliamp Li-ion battery. That sounds pretty substantial. Should give it a decent all-day use, right?
Yeah, 50-50 milliamp is definitely up there. It's quite large.
And for the build, we're looking at Gorilla Glass Victus 2, it says. Glassback Gorilla Glass Victus. And an aluminum frame, plus dual SIM. It certainly suggests a premium feel, but also, pretty durable construction.
That's a key point, actually. A big battery like that, paired with an efficient 3nm chip, that should translate into excellent battery life. Worry-free, hopefully. Minimizing that range anxiety we all feel sometimes.
Definitely need that.
And using Gorilla Glass Victus 2 on the front, that's particularly notable. It offers better scratch and drop resistance. Always welcome on a flagship phone that, let's be honest, probably gets dropped more than we'd like.
Guilty as charged. Okay, now here's where it gets really interesting and maybe a little confusing based on our source, the operating system. So the summary section, right at the top of the article, it mentions Android 16.
Okay, the next version. Makes sense.
But then you scroll down to the detailed platform section, and it lists Android 14.
Android 14, that's current odd.
Right. And it's similar for RAM. The summary lists 8 gigabytes and 16 gigabit options. Sounds about right for a Pro model.
Yeah, standard high-end options.
But then the detailed memory section lower down, it also states RAM 512 millibytes.
512 megabytes. No, that can't be right for a flagship phone today. That must be a typo or some kind of error in the leak data.
It's like the leak is playing two truths and a lie with us. I mean, what does this tell us about trusting this early info?
That is a fascinating observation. And yet it raises that important question about how these early speculative details get compiled. It's compelling that we see these different figures within the same source material. So while, 8 and 16 gigs of RAM, that fits perfectly with high-end expectations. But that 512 millibyte mention and the Android 14 versus 16 thing, it really highlights the fluid nature of unconfirmed specs.
Right.
It's just a clear reminder for all of us, as consumers, to stay discerning. Wait for the official word. Even leaks that look really comprehensive can have these weird inconsistencies. And honestly, that's part of the fun of doing a deep dive like this, sifting through it all.
That's a perfect way to put it, yeah. Sifting through the digital tea leaves. Okay, moving on. Connectivity. Looks like this phone is absolutely packed. We're talking Wi-Fi 7.
Oh, nice. Future-proofing.
Bluetooth 5.3. A comprehensive GPS system. It lists GPS, L1 plus L5, GLONASS, BDS, Galileo, QZSS, all the constellations.
Multi-band as well, L1 plus L5. Very accurate.
Plus NFC, naturally, and USB Type-C 3.2. It seems like you'll be connected pretty much every way imaginable.
Yeah, the inclusion of Wi-Fi 7 is a big deal. It's a significant leap forward. Promises incredibly fast, really stable wireless connections, especially, once Wi-Fi 7 routers become more common.
Right, downloading huge files super fast.
Exactly, or seamless lag-free cloud gaming, potentially. And Bluetooth 5.3 just means solid connections to your headphones, watches, whatever, with better power efficiency. And that multi-band, multi-constellation GPS support, that means incredibly precise location tracking. Good for navigation, obviously, but also for advanced fitness tracking and things like that.
Okay, but the sensors. This is where it gets really unique, I think. Beyond the usual stuff, fingerprint reader under the display, accelerometer, gyro, proximity, compass.
Standard suite, yeah.
This phone is listed with a barometer, okay, but also, remarkably, a skin temperature thermometer.
A skin temperature thermometer.
Wow.
Okay.
And a phone. That's definitely not something you see every day.
No, it's not. And this, I think, is where we connect it back to the bigger picture. Putting a skin temperature sensor in there, alongside standard environmental sensors like the barometer and compass, it really hints at a future where smartphones get even more deeply integrated into, personal health monitoring.
Interesting.
It pushes the boundaries of what a phone can do, right? Moving beyond just calls and apps and photos to offering direct, real-time health insights. This could actually be a pretty significant step towards more proactive personal wellness, managed right from your pocket, giving you a better handle on your own body's signals.
Yeah, that's quite a thought. Okay, so let's maybe try and recap some of the most striking bits from these potential Pixel 12 Pro specs.
Right.
We're looking at potentially a really ambitious 108 megapixel camera system aiming for that computational magic. A robust build Gorilla Glass Victus 2 on the front, that's good to see. A powerful Tensor G4 chip promising maybe some next level on-device AI. These details, even with those weird inconsistencies we found, they really start to build a picture of what Google's next flagship could be like.
Yeah, a compelling picture.
And then let's not forget, the sources own our rating across most categories: design, display, camera, features, connectivity, usability, performance, battery. Came in at an impressive 9 out of 10.
Which is very high, yeah. And building on that health sensor point, it's not just about, checking your temperature casually. It raises fascinating questions, doesn't it? About data privacy, how these personal insights might empower you, or maybe even connect with wider healthcare systems down the line.
True.
I feel like a huge step forward, but also one with some pretty interesting implications beyond just, daily convenience, hints at a much more holistic personal assistant in your pocket.
So wrapping this up then, what does this all mean for you listening right now? Given this constant stream of leaks, this evolution, what responsibility do we as consumers, and maybe tech companies too, have in navigating that line between genuine excitement and just hype?
That's a good question.
Or thinking about that advanced sensor suite, that thermometer, how might future phones integrate even more deeply into our lives beyond just communication and entertainment? It's definitely worth thinking about, isn't it? How fast mobile tech is moving and what these kinds of predicted features might actually mean for how you use your devices in the near future. Something to chew on.